Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and I'm coming to you today from a very wet town just outside of Birmingham in the West Midlands here in the UK. This is episode 61 of my crafting podcast, and today I have a lot and not a lot to show you. I've worked on 4 whips, or at least 4 whips that I'll show here. However, I have not got a lot done on any of them. I also have some acquisition, which I will share with you in a bit. I would just like to mention I am currently running a make-along. It is called the Finish Along 2026. It is a 3-month make-along where we just focus on finishing whips. There's a chatter thread and a finished object thread over on Ravelry. There will be a couple of prizes at the end, drawn from both the chatter thread and the finished object thread, but there's no major rules. It's just whips that were already on your needles before the start of the make-along. Just focusing on finishing whips. And while I remember, I will also mention what I am wearing. So this is one of my many Tolsters. This one specifically is the Tolster Tank. It is knit using the Mousewitch Yarns April 2024 colourway, I believe, Black Diamond. I think this was her one of her colour of the month, the colour of the month club or something along that line. I don't know, I've slept since then. But I know this is Mousewitch Yarns, which is Mandy of previously of Mouse's Makes. She has changed the podcast name now to Mousewitch. But yeah, this is that. There is also a small band of colour work along the bottom of some dragonflies, using a solid green colour. It doesn't show up very well on camera. I'd also have to stand up in order to show you it, so I'll leave it to your imagination. And now we shall get on to the 4 whips I have touched, and touched is about as much as I have done. We'll start with the smallest one. We'll go smallest to biggest. So in this bag, which is my Keep On Knitting kitten bag from the Stephen and Penelli Police Shop, West Knits, is a pair of socks using yarn I bought from the shop for my other half. The yarn is by Dark Omen Yarns, and I am using a main colour and a contrast colour. So the contrasting colour is this one. It's called Rejuvenate, which is a really like creamy grey base is the best way I can describe it, with green and blue and purple speckles throughout. And the main skein I'm using, which is still trying to fall apart for some unknown reason. I have kind of fixed it since last week, although I haven't actually picked it up to use this colour yet this week. Spoiler alert. Is Scuba Dive, which is this different tones of blue. It's kind of like a variegated colourway with a bit of micro striping, I guess. This is the sock I had finished last week. So you can kind of see there the different tones of blue, from a bright blue to a dark blue. I'm guessing to kind of imitate the different sort of almost layers of light that you can see when you go scuba diving. And so last week I had just finished the first sock. This week I managed to cast on and get this far on the second sock. I think I've got about 12 rows of ribs so far, and I need 20. So not a lot. I took this project with me to the hospital on Tuesday, I've got an operation this weekend. I had to go for some pre-op blood work. I took this project thinking like, oh, because it's based on sort of a first come first serve, you sort of, it's more of a walk-in. That's a better way of describing it. It's more of a walk-in service. So you show up, you take a number, you sit down. Although this one wasn't so much take a number, it was, they took your name down and then they kind of called you in turn for that specific. There was one nurse doing that specific set of blood work because it's a specific one for pre-op patient. I'm rambling. I was expecting to be there for quite a while. So I'd cast this on and done the first couple of rows just to get it set up. Took this with me. Got there, I sat down and I got through 1 round and 3 stitches before my name was called. So when they want to, they can be quite quick and on the ball. But that's not a common occurrence. So I'm gonna try over the next 2 days, 3 days. It's Thursday at the time of recording this. My operation is on Sunday. I want to try and get the rib done on this, the cuff done, and have sort of the main colour joined in, ready, so that this becomes just round and round stockinette that I can take with me on Sunday. So I don't know how it works in other countries, but here in the UK, if you're going in for like a scheduled procedure, there's a whole bunch of you, and you get a slot. It's either morning or afternoon. Mine's morning, but your operation time isn't actually decided until that morning. So you could get there for 7:30, but your operation doesn't end up taking place till 10 o'clock when they call you through to get you started. So I'm going to make sure this is at the point where it's in the round knitting so that I can work on this while I'm waiting for mine. You also have to wait on your own, and I am an incredibly anxious person. I have an anxiety disorder. I have to take anti-anxiety meds when I go to things like this. So knitting helps me with my anxiety, especially when I can't take my anti-anxiety meds right before the operation because it can mess with the anaesthetic. So I'm going to need this. And I will also have my headset with me. I only have the one on, obviously, so that I can hear them call me. But this is going to be Sunday's project. And you can guarantee, if I take this with me, I'll be the first one operated on that day and won't get anything done. But if I forget it, if I forget to take this with me, I will be the last operation of the morning. Because, well, it's sod's law, isn't it? And my next whip that I touched this week is Tunisian crochet. It is using the Hobby Essentials Aran yarn. This is a 100% acrylic in the colourway Lilac. And I am currently in the process of making a scarf. I think I was about here when you last saw it. I added a decent amount. I was working on this while watching an episode of Clarkson's Farm. So this is going to be a donation make. It's going to be part of a set, at least hat and a scarf, potentially hat, scarf and mitts. We shall see. But yeah, so it's almost the length of my one arm. I think if I make this sort of my wingspan, it should be long enough for a child. I will properly measure this as well as look up the average length of a scarf or the recommended length of a scarf for a child. But I know for the time being there's no point in measuring it. It's definitely not long enough. Because, well, it's at the stage where it would make probably a decent cowl, but I definitely want it to be scarf. So I'm so sorry. I've had a bit of a croak in my throat all week. I'm not ill or anything. It's just, but so this is being done on a 6mm Tunisian crochet hook. So it's got the cable, and I am doing this in the honeycomb stitch. Let's get this up nice and close and see if it'll focus. So it's got this nice honeycomb texture, which I quite like it. This would be even more amazing if it wasn't 100% acrylic, but it's also not the softest acrylic. The more I'm using it, the rougher it feels. But it's not for me. It's for a charitable donation that I will be doing at Christmas to a women and girls charity. There'll be other stuff as well. Like I'll buy like things like toiletries and underwear and stuff like that they are always asking for. But this is going to be like a kid's set they can give to a child in need, a child escaping domestic abuse. So, and that's what that's for. As I said, there's not tons of progress on it, and it's also not the most exciting thing. It's a long rectangle. I'm pretty sure it's 34 stitches. So that's project number 2. Project number 3. Once again, sorry, that noise you heard was Tesco informing me that my shopping is due to be delivered between 9 and 10 tonight. Yes, I shop at Tesco. I'm also lazy and get it delivered. And I also pay for the flexi spots. Just a little hack if you shop at Tesco. If you know you're going to be at home because you work from home most of the time, don't pay £3 to £4.50 for a singular hour slot. But just pay £1.50 and have the flexi spot, which is, it's a 4-hour window. But then that day they tell you roughly what time it's going to be delivered. Oh, now I'm making a mess. Project. I'll start with the yarn for this. This is Holster Yarn Super Soft in the colourway Imperial Purple and Peony. So this is definitely a dark, moody purple, and this is a almost heathered, not quite that bright pink. There, that's more colour accurate. I just have to put them in shadow, apparently, because up here they look so bright. This is my Cheshire Cat vest, also known as I have taken the Stick Season by Rebecca Clow and completely butchered it. So this is a fingering weight yarn. I'm making a DK weight pattern. And I have joined the fronts, which There we go, let's have the cable not trying to twist. I have joined the two fronts, I've cast on stitches, I am now working down the front. As you can see, I am striping the two colours. So, as you've probably already seen from the pattern picture, this is a one colour, DK weight, textured sweater. I am making a fingering weight, striped sweater vest. I've kept the texture. You're supposed to, once you join the yoke and start working in the rounds, you're supposed to drop the texture and just do stocking stitch. To be honest, I might actually keep this texture going all the way through. I haven't 100% decided yet, but I quite enjoy the feel of this. This textured pattern. It's kind of like a rib, but not 100% like a rib. I don't want to give too much away because it is a paid-for pattern. But I'm quite liking it. We'll see how I'm feeling about this texture once I join in the round. It would be quicker just doing it like plain stockinette. But I don't know. It's not all about being quick. It's about making stuff that I want and that I'll wear. So, we shall see. So, last week I'd finished the back. I think I'd finished the one side and I just picked up the other side. So, yeah, I've made a decent amount of progress, more than the sock. Now it is just a case of continuing working flats. I've got a couple less ends, a couple less cables, a couple of less bits flapping about, getting in the way now, so it's a little bit more pleasurable to work on because I'm not constantly tangled. But once again, it's not all about being quick, it's all about stress relief, making stuff that you'll wear, and slower fashion. Because, I mean, this pattern is about 3, maybe 4 years old now, and I'm still liking it, I'm still enjoying it. I mean, I'm still enjoying the Tolsters, although they are very simple, easy. Well, there's a tank and a T version. I've still got a couple more of those planned. So, slow fashion. But yeah, I don't actually have any plans for this at the moment. Like, the sock I want to get round to the point where it's simple round knitting. I don't know how much brain capacity I'm going to have after surgery, so this might get worked on if I have the brain capacity to keep up the textured pattern. Otherwise, this might sit for a couple of weeks now. And then my last work in progress, my last whip that I've touched, there's definitely more whips, is my In Between Dreams cardigan. So when you saw this last week, I had finished the first sleeve and I'd put this into, not exactly timeout, but we were having a little break. With a slight break. Because I'm working on the sleeves at the moment, I'm having to do it magic loop. Magic loop is not my preferred knitting method. I would much rather do flat or short circulars or just continuous. I don't like having the wings. So we had a slight break. We had a few days off from each other. And now I have picked up the second sleeve. Don't mind this. This is here because I had to do so many rounds before I start decreases. I had done exactly 30, so I figured I'd mark it. So instead of having to count from the bottom again, I could just count 10. And I think I have 1 or 2 more rounds, and then I can start the decreases on this sleeve. I only picked this back up again like 2 days ago, and I don't think I touched a pair of knitting needles yesterday. So, yeah. So, we're getting there. The decreases is fairly easy. I'm doing them every 8 rows. I honestly don't know what the pattern was, because I kind of ignore the pattern when it comes to sleeves. I work out how I want the sleeve to fit and work it out from there. Which I'm sure a lot of people do. So yeah, this is my In Between Dreams by My Units. And I am making this using Better. This is a very green yarn. It's not blue, it's green, and it's nowhere near that bright. This is Rowan Valley Tweed in the colourway Janet's Foss. And I'm pretty sure this yarn is discontinued. At the very least, this is a discontinued colour. So, this pattern calls for a sport weight yarn. I'm using fingering. Are we noticing a pattern here? So, I altered the sleeve, not just because I did my own thing with the decreases. It calls for a 1x1 rib with a panel of garter stitch at the midway point, I think it is, like, kind of like there. I decided I didn't want that. So I've just got like 6 rounds of garter stitch at the end, because that's how I started it at the collar. And that's how I'm going to finish it when I finish the body. So this is still on needle, well, it's on a cord still because I haven't finished the body. Once I have this sleeve finished, which I'm hoping I can have done before the next podcast episode, because there's going to be at least 2 weeks off from podcasting for obvious reasons. I'm hoping I can get the sleeve done. So I'd like to have the sleeve done by the end of June. And then I would like to get the body finished, specifically so that I can wear it when we go away at the end of July. So that I can wear it at the end of July, because we're going away. I don't know if I'm going to need it where we're going, but I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I love this lace at the top. It would be nice if there was some lace at the bottom as well, but there's not, and I am not a good enough knitter to work out how to put some lace at the bottom. Not that like matches this anyway, because of course this is done with increases at strategic points to shape the yoke. So, but this is my 5th 50-gram skein, or cake, or ball, or however you want to call it. And I am now, I need to wind a couple more balls, a couple more skeins into usable cakes balls, just so I've got them ready to go. But yeah, that is active whip number 4 and the last one for this week. Put that back in the bag. I'm now just going to adjust my position. I'm going to adjust the camera so there's going to be a cut. Hello, right, sorry about that. My back's starting to hurt. I get pain in my lower back. It's nothing to worry about, it's just, it's usually a sign that I've been very, very busy and neglected myself. Acquisition. So technically I have two sets of acquisition. I have two sets of acquisition. One of them I can't show you because it is my yarn club for this month and I have another video for that. And the other one is a wool warehouse order. However, that wool warehouse order that I warned you all I was going to be making, I ended up not placing anywhere near as big of an order as I thought I was going to. So I am making 2 kids' jumpers for a friend who's having her second baby. And I needed to order the yarn for that. However, one of the colours that we had picked was out of stock. So I waited to place the order. And in my basket, I also had yarn to make a big 7-skein shawl. And 2 of those colours had gone out of stock while waiting for this colour to come back into stock. I also had yarn in my basket to make a dino out of this book. And that yarn went out of stock as well. The main colour I needed had gone out of stock. So, because I needed to make these kids' jumpers, I just decided to... I've got a picture for later, but I took all of those yarns out of my basket and just ordered the yarn for the jumpers, which did mean I had to pay for shipping. It's fine. I don't mind paying £4 for shipping when I only had like less than 20 quid in my basket anyway. I didn't want to buy partial project quantities. So for the shawl, I had a really specific colour palette in mind. I didn't want to just buy 5 of the colours and then go back later and hope those 2 colours come back into stock. Because if those 2 colours end up being discontinued, the rest of those 5 skeins don't make sense. And also, for the dino, like, there was only like 4 skeins anyway, 4 small skeins from drops. They don't cost a lot anyway. I can just go back and get them another time when I'm placing another order. I think the yarn to make the dino was going to cost like, I don't know, like £8 or something stupid. So, not a lot. And given the main colour for the T-Rex, it was kind of out of stock and I only needed like 2 other colours. It just didn't make sense. So, the sweater I am making for the kids, these 2 kids, well, baby and child. The baby is due end of July, I think. I'm not going to make a summer garment for a baby. I'm going to make the 6 to 12 month size so they can wear it in the winter, as well as a matching one for the older child who will be 5 in November. So this is the yarn I got. This is 100% acrylic because this is for a child, well, for 2 children. I was not going to be handing that mother the gift of hand washing because it would have had them thrown back at my face, probably with a brick wrapped in the middle. So, this is the jumper I'm going to make. I think it is called a sheepish sweater. I can't remember the name and I can't remember who designed it now, but it's this cute sweater with little sheepies on it. The mother grew up near a farm. And although she doesn't do that now, she works as a museum curator. She still quite likes her roots, you know. She's proud of her roots and all that. And this was what she picked. I gave her multiple options of this is what she picked. And so I'm just gonna pull out one of each colour. So for the sheep, I picked out this off-white. I didn't want to go pure white because no sheep is pure white. So I picked this off-white colour. It definitely says white, but it's not so pure white it's unrealistic. So it's got this sort of yellowy cream kind of base. And I also got because obviously for the face I got this black. Thinking about it, I probably could have just got any old cheap or even leftover black yarn and made it up to Aran weight. Because I have bought an entire 100 gram skein and I think I need like 10 grams of this. Oh wow. So this is Yarnsmiths Create Aran. It is a 100% acrylic yarn. It feels okay. I personally don't like acrylic. Personally. That does not mean I don't think there's a place for it. There's definitely a place for acrylic yarns, you know. It makes good items for babies. It's washable. It's fine. Like, this is okay. I just personally won't wear this. Like, I would personally only really use acrylic for kids things, or if I'm using it for my own personal life, home decor. But this is not the worst acrylic I've ever felt. It is definitely one of the nicer 100% acrylics I've ever felt, but it's still acrylic. But what was my other choice? Buy the 100% merino and have a brick thrown at my head? So that's for the two sheepies. And then for the main colour, so the top of the jumpers, I chose this colour. Well, we chose. I gave suggestions, she basically picked the colours. This is Pale Lilac, which, yep, it's a Pale Lilac. If you ask me, it reads slightly more pink than purple, but I am looking at it in my purple living room. So, and then for the grass, so the lower part, so under the sheep, so it looks like they're standing in a field, we went with the aptly named grass green, that's coming out quite bright again. If I hold it over here, now it's too dark, because that looks very bright. That looks a bit better. A bit. But, yep. So, these are the colours. So, I have 2 skeins of the lilac, 2 skeins of the green, and a skein each of the black and the white. So, I need probably only about 10 grams of this, and about 20 grams of this. So realistically, I'm going to have, I think I worked it out that from the 600 grams I bought, I'm going to have about 200 grams left over. Because I need 1 1/4 balls of the green, but they come in 100 gram balls. And I needed 1 1/2 of the lilac. So I needed a little bit more, but not the whole thing. And then small quantities of this. But it's fine. I can either make a little stuffy or something. I could probably crochet up a sheep with the leftovers and send that along as well. But whatever's left over, I will probably just put into like a a scrappy basket or something. The yarn won't go to waste. Like, it is not very often that I just throw yarn away. I do try and keep, save, use as much as I can. The only real times I have thrown yarn away is if it is so knotted it's unsavable, or if it has been knit and frogged to the point that it is so frayed and damaged that it's not really going to be good for anything. Or in the case of one yarn I got given, it was a very old acrylic yarn. It had been sat in somebody's stash for probably the better part of 40 years before I got to it. I got given it after, it was my friend's mum. But they were like, they were all clearing it out. I helped them to a degree. I was the only driver at the time. I got given, like, they were like, oh yeah, you knit and crochet, you can have this yarn. I was like, okay, cool. And there were some nice things. I used the nice things. There was one acrylic. The only way I could describe it is it had the texture of crumpling crisp packets. Bin. I'm sorry, that was bin. Like, I don't know whether that's just been really badly stored and it become just awful, but it had the texture of crinkling crisp packets. No, thank you. Anyway, I should probably leave this here because I've been waffling on for I don't know how long. There's definitely been a bit of a ramble. Next week, there will not be a podcast episode. I'm not even sure if you're going to have a whip episode next week, because I have not had time to edit that yet, and I recorded it nearly 6 weeks ago. I'm going to try and get that done with the rest of my afternoon. So, there will not be a regular podcast episode next week, and there probably won't be one the week after. It depends how quickly I bounce back and how bored I get. So, there is going to be a video at the beginning of next week. So either Monday or Tuesday. So the 15th or 16th. May's Yarn Club episode will go live. From my Super Effective Fibres Yarn Club. I will say, if that goes live, take that as the indicator that I have come through surgery, okay? So, I'm going to have it all scheduled, but I'm going to hit the magic button once I get back from the hospital, or what might probably be, if I have to stay in the hospital, I'll probably hit it while I'm there. But if anyone's there wanting news on if I've come through surgery, okay? If the video goes live, I'm okay. I don't want to say I'll do a community post because I don't know if I'm going to have the brain capacity to write a community post, but I can definitely hit a big shiny button that says publish. So yeah, no podcast next week, probably won't be the week after, but there should be at least 2 videos if I get the chance to edit the whip video, but there will definitely be at least 1 video at the beginning of next week. So, and if anyone's wondering, I'm not nervous, I'm not worried, I'm not scared. I am anxious. Yeah, I think I'll be alright. I'll be good. And I hope all of you have a wonderful next couple of weeks. I hope you get to do all of the things you enjoy doing, be that knitting, crochet, spinning, weaving. So I hope you enjoy all of the things that you enjoy. I hope you get to do it lots. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I will catch you all in a few weeks. Bye, guys.